Having just experienced the breakup with the lady with whom he considered to be all he had, and the one with whom he had gone to the extent of making plans about the future which they want to have together, he looks to be doing just fine. It was over a month since they both fell out, and compared to how devastated he was at first, he has been able to go about his daily activities, do well at work, and have been able to hide his pain from outsiders by always putting up a smiling face and acting all cheerful around his friends and fellow workers. After a stressful day at work, all that he was craving at the moment was just to observe enough, rest, and then wake up to getting ready for the activities of the following day. Just at that moment, he started to think about how far he has come in life, memories of how he had always hoped to be a financial accountant. Making both himself and his parents proud brought up a smile on his face. It was at that point that his highly craved dream of having a lovely wife and staying at home with his kids brushed through his mind. A thought which triggered the question of whom he really thought would be his ideal wife. It was at this point the memories of his time with his ex Anna filled up his mind. He tried moving on, thinking about other things, but later made peace with the fact that he really wants to make himself happy by remembering the good old days with her. While still in his bed, he got lost in his thoughts and went back to all the memories of them together and how it all began with the both of them meeting up in college. It was a sunny day in school, and he was only interested in going about his daily activities as he attended his first lecture of the day. It was during the course of the lecture that the lecturer threw a question to the class, and only a few hands were up, willing to meet the challenge of answering the question exactly how the lecturer wants. Everyone gave their opinion, and the lecturer commended them all. However, it was not much of a surprise when the lecturer laid emphasis on the fact that the new girl, who had just joined the course, was already feeling at home by not being shy to answer a question amidst her new course mates. The lecturer also gave good comments about the fact that her answers were brilliant and that he looks forward to seeing her become one of the best in class. Just after the class was over, the new girl walked up to Kelvin and made inquiries about the different courses and the fact that she needed someone who will be able to let her in on whatever stuff she might have missed while not in school. Kelvin felt honored and decided to help her out with whatever things she might need his help on. While still being caught up in his thoughts, he remembered the day when it all changed, from being just course mates to being reading partners. It was a day when they were both trying to finish up with an assignment in the library, and they ended up making a discovery as to the fact that they were great as a team. It was then that Anna gave the suggestion that they start reading together, visiting the college library more often, and work towards distinguishing themselves as not just being among the best in the class, but being the top 2 students. Kelvin agreed with the idea, and they both started working towards the goal of being the best. Months of being reading partners went by, and it was after a year and a few months that they later got to their desired place of being the top 2 students in their class. Everyone loved their friendship as they always made goals together and achieved them together. They were further loved by their habit of always being together, either in the lecture room, library, and even at any random event held at the college. While on his way back to his bed, he discovered that he was loving the idea of remembering the good old days, and that he wanted to remember more, as that may be a good way to relax himself and end his day. It was just minutes after jumping back on his bed that he remembered the day they had a funny misunderstanding. He remembered how he left the class angrily, being pissed off by the fact that Anna had been hanging out all day with a certain coursemate of theirs. He felt alone and worried that the one with whom he had been spending almost all of his time in school was busy engaging in an assignment with another. Anna, being notified of how annoyed he was looking before leaving class, decided to walk up to him and question him as to what the reason is for being all moody. He remembered how blunt he was, that he told Anna of the fact that he was not happy seeing the way she had been with another coursemate of theirs all day without paying any attention to him. It was at this moment that Anna burst into laughter, claiming that he really needed to look at himself in the mirror. This made him flare up, as he told Anna that she seems to never understand how he really feels about her, and how he really wants them to be together forever without anyone coming between them. Anna, not being so surprised by his words, asked him a question. "Kelvin, do you love me?" It was at this point that he couldn't utter a word, as he was worried about whether he should admit that he loves her and accept whatever reply comes out of her mouth, or if he should keep lying to himself that he has no feelings for her. He then summoned his courage and told her that he was indeed in love with her and didn't know how to tell her. He was shocked when Anna said to him that she does love him too, and the guy with whom he had seen her earlier with is just a coursemate of theirs who requested her help with a project he was working on. Kelvin was filled with thoughts of how epic their love story was, right from college to over 3 years that they spent in furthering their education and getting to fulfill other dreams of theirs. He was so lost in his thoughts to the extent that he didn't notice how long his phone rang. It was a phone call from a friend of his who no one would expect to be calling by that time of the day. Kelvin could not help but think about how their love story came to an unexpected end. He remembered that it was just a couple of years ago that Anna traveled out of the country with the sole intention of furthering her education and coming back to get a good job and think about them getting married. It was a year program and all was well between herself and Kelvin for the first 3 months. Kelvin remembered how distance started catching up with them and made both understand the fact that they are similar in the way that they find it hard to trust one another to be of good behavior. It all started on the day when Kelvin was unable to pick Anna's call during the day, and although having plans to call her when he gets home, he could not since he fell asleep immediately and only wanted to relax in his room before getting something to eat for dinner. He woke up to Anna's call the next day as she was venting out her anger at him and asking how he was okay with the fact that they didn't talk for almost 24 hours. He tried explaining to her, but she wasn't buying that, as she felt he was with another girl throughout the night. This caused issues between them for days until they finally made peace and got it resolved. He remembered how quick it was for them to have issues again, resulting from the fact that neither party was ready to trust the other's movement, since they were not being watched. It was on this note that Anna requested that they have a break and wait until she gets back to the country before getting back together. It was during this time of taking a break that Anna met another guy, and with time they both fell in love, given that herself and Kelvin were no longer in touch, all in the name of taking a break from their relationship. Kelvin remembered how depressed and heartbroken he was when Anna got back to the country and he was told of her being engaged to another guy. He couldn't summon the courage to confront her in the face and has since then been keen on getting himself out of his depressed state and make sure it is not known to others how heartbroken he really is.